Do you thrift?
Yes, I do thrift.
Yes, I do thrift.
Yes.
Yes, I thrift occasionally.
Yes, I do thrift. Almost half of my wardrobe is secondhand.
Yes, I go thrifting.
I do thrift occasionally.
I do thrift, not as often, but I've been thrifting since I was like in middle school.
Why do you thrift?
I thrift for many reasons, but primarily for its economic and environmental benefits.
I thrift because it's more sustainable and it's more environmentally friendly, as it's being polluted by lots of fast fashion.
The fast fashion industry is really degrading to the workers.
When I tend to go to some thrift stores or like secondhand stores, things like that, they have the things that I like or need or that actually like fit my body type, because I don't have like a base body type.
Originally, I started thrifting because it was cheaper. I really like having a bunch of clothes. Growing up, my family didn't have a lot of money, so we would go to thrift stores.
Could you explain the gentrification of thrifting?
The gentrification of thrifting is really bittersweet. On one hand, there has been this increase in secondhand shopping, but on the other, we've seen these communities where all of their resources are kind of being diminished or depleted. I guess you could say well-privileged individuals go off into the less privileged communities and do these ginormous thrifting hauls and then sell the clothing for 10 times what they paid, leaving those communities with little to no resources.
It's very easy to overconsume, and that also ends up driving demand, which drives up prices for people who really need it. And a lot of these items are, taken away from places that really need them and end up being sold on like Depop or something like that.
You can go on Depop and see like $20 shirts from like the baby section of like a thrift store. It's like super, in my opinion, it's disgusting, because although like yes, you should be able to go thrifting because you need it, because it's cheaper, or you want to be more sustainable and help the environment because of the amount of clothes that gets thrown away. To go and buy clothes just to make a profit off of somebody, you're taking away clothes that could go to people that actually need it. And especially during winter, when people go and they get their cute corduroy coats or whatever it is, those are coats that could potentially be going to like a homeless person who doesn't have a place to stay and is sleeping like on a bench outside, who needs like a coat to keep them warm.
How do you thrift consciously, and how do you recommend other people thrift consciously?
I thrift consciously by trying to avoid like the children's clothes section. I feel like there's a problem with people buying children's clothes or winter clothes and reselling them on different websites and such.
I think when you're thrifting, just stay away from the kids section if you're not shopping for like a child. Even if you want like cute Y2K, I think it is, t-shirts. Stay away from winter clothes and stay away from the kids section.
And what I think is like a very important thing to consider is whether you even need the item you're thrifting, or I actually recommend trying to get as much wear as the clothes you already have, because even though buying stuff that's sustainable is helpful, the most sustainable option is always just using what you have until you can't use it anymore.
I don't thrift on impulse, which we shouldn't buy on impulse, but we definitely shouldn't thrift on impulse or make these large thrift hauls where we come out of the thrift stores with everything, leaving nothing behind.
Definitely, I think like the obvious one that I do is, you don't thrift from thrift stores that are in like low income communities. That's obviously like a big start.
I think the main way that I thrift consciously is supporting independent and like more localized thrift stores.
And another way that I thrift consciously is that if I'm using online thrifting services such as Depop, I try to only look for clothes that are being sold by their actual owners and try to avoid people who are trying to resell thrift clothes at higher prices.
About giving back a little bit more than I actually take. What I mean by this is when I do go thrifting for like any piece of or any article of clothing that I would need for a certain occasion, I would also bring clothes from my own home to give back.
I think it's really important that people are conscious of how they're thrifting because of the importance it has to lower income communities, like homeless people or just people that are living in poverty. Thrifting is a really easy way for them to get clothes for really cheap because they don't have a lot of money or they're on a budget.
Really should pay attention and thrift consciously because it guarantees those communities to have those resources that it was intended for.